Hey, it's Topher right here on Geek Public Radio, and we're going to be talking about Vedelem, the Golden Horde. We're going to be talking about some new stuff that you can do in Rust and maybe your house. And we're going to be talking about Dell being sued over overpromising for Alienware, as well as being able to talk about War and Thunder and their new Red Skies trailer right here. All right, so yes, we are here as usual, as I cough in everybody's ear.
Of course you did.
I am here as usual with my partner in crime, Crazy
That's
Chris.
me. Hi. I commit crime, apparently.
So it's been a long week, long 2 weeks.
It has been a long couple of weeks.
Yeah. Between our shows. For those that don't know, we switch off. Sunday Night Madness records on one Friday, then we record on the next Friday, and we switch back and forth, trying to get a lot of stuff done. But now that we're adding some other things into the mix and having other shows into the days, and like our crime, the Criminal
crime.
Fix,
Criminal Fix. Yep.
True crime show. We're
DocuCast.
We're breaking everything down into segments, so we're having a video uploaded every week, or every day during the week as well. So we're changing, we're adding stuff, we're uploading stuff like every day.
Making sure that you guys get your Geek Public Radio fix every single day. We are the dealers. You are our loyal customers, and we will supply you with everything you need.
So
all things geek, baby.
Along those lines, we have a new show coming out. If you would like to, that's coming up. We can get them in the studio.
I clear my throat. You cough.
Yeah.
I think we've sufficiently blown out their eardrums. Yeah. All right. So we do have a new podcast that'll be coming to the Geek Public Radio family. That is going to be a comics cast. So we're going to bring in a couple of one old face. Literally, no. We're going to bring in one old face, and then we're going to bring in a new face that you guys have not met yet. We're going to be introducing him to the Geek Public Radio family, and they're going to be discussing all things comic books, their favorite comics, who would win in a fight between Squirrel Girl and Doctor Doom, which, if you're a comic fan, you should already know that answer, but just obscure things like that. The state of the comic universe, everything.
New updates on comics,
baby? Yeah, new updates on comics, possible releases, new arcs, new stories, all that crazy stuff. So all things comic, which, it's a Geek Public Radio production. So, of course, it's going to be geeky, and that's what we do. So if you guys have an interest in comic books, you guys want to discuss comic book-related material, this is going to be the show to check out. That will be dropping relatively soon. Don't have an exact date, but it will be within the next 7 days. So make sure that you are keeping up with everything from Geek Public Radio. You can do that really easily, and that is just becoming a member on our website, geekpublicradio.com. Clicking the little member button. It's $5 a month. You get access first to all of the new content that breaks out live, so you can interact with us via Discord, via chat, things like that. And then, if you can't do that, we understand. We completely do. You can actually click the little subscribe button and the notification bell on the Geek Public Radio channel on YouTube. Ring my bell, baby. And then you'll be alerted every time we release a new video, which, as Topher's already said, has been every single day. So make sure you guys do that. Click like, click subscribe, ring the notification bell. And if you don't want to do that, consider becoming a member to support us in a more material way.
Yes. So
I've never said that before.
So as we get into this stuff, you were literally came in talking about this game.
Yes, I'm super excited about it.
And for the life of me, I had the hardest time remembering the name of the game.
Vedelem, the Golden Horde.
The Golden Horde. Okay. So fill our ear holes with what Vedelem, the Golden Horde is.
Absolutely. So Vedelem, the Golden Horde is a real-time strategy simulation game. So it plays very much like Command and Conquer from the old world, right? So a lot of people remember the Command and Conquer series, the Warcraft series before it became an MMO, in which you're responsible for training troops, managing resources, things like that. So you build up your army, you'll build up farms, sawmills, ironworks, the whole nine, in order to create an army. And the trick on this one is that you're actually supposed to be repelling the Mongolian hordes. So this is set in feudal Asia. I'm not really sure. There's not really a faction alignment type yet, because this game is still in early access, and it looks fairly decent. But there's still some rough patches as they're trying to put things together to make it more entertaining and more engaging and interesting. But the concepts and the gameplay is all there. The mechanics work out just fine. It's fun. Right now, the only thing that they have is siege mode, where you basically build up your base, and then wave after wave of enemy will come at you, and you have to defend against them. And then after, it's about 15 minutes or so, the Mongolian horde will arrive, and you have to defend yourself. But you can build walls, upgrade your keep, train soldiers, archers, swordsmen, all that crazy stuff. So it's actually pretty entertaining. I enjoyed it so far. We'll see what the new updates bring once they finish completely with the game. We also have some Valheim news, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Valheim is released that they have gotten a new horse.
Ooh.
Not for the game. Actually, no, just just Iron Gate Studios went and bought a horse, and they named it Valheim. But yeah, so Vedelem, the Golden Horde, check that out on Steam. It's available. It's free to play. So if you want to get in on the early access, now's the time to do that. But yeah, just came out 17th of May, and it's actually a game that was created by, I'm gonna see if I can actually, what is it? The Breda University, of Applied Sciences. The developers under Castle Roaches, the publishers Breda University of Applied Sciences. This is actually a student project. So this is one of those games that was created in a student lab. And so far, so good. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what else they do with it and see what other direction it goes. I'd rather release some gameplay footage, but believe me, you don't want to watch me play this. I'm pretty bad at it. But yeah, so that's Vedelem, the Golden Horde. You guys could check that out. It's super fun to play. You guys will like it, I think. I'm a strategy guy, so I love it personally.
Oh, no, I like the more RTS stuff that I get, the more
you'll like this. It's fun. It's rough, but it's fun.
I mean, I was a big fan of BattleTech when it came out here not too long ago, which is a BattleTech Mech Warrior real-time strategy. Like, you can click over and do this.
Well, is it similar to the Mech Warrior series, or was it more of the Command and Conquer style?
Command and Conquer style.
But with mechs. Awesome. Yeah, see, that makes me happy. I'll have to try that out. There was a game back in the day. I do believe
it's on. Your PlayStation. I'm Xbox. We have everything covered.
Yep.
And
but I can.
It's like available on Gamecast or our Game Pass. Both the Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries and I think it's Piranha's somebody's BattleTech.
Wow. Okay.
The Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries is the traditional Mech Warrior, or like
that's your piloting the mech game.
Yeah.
That one can be really fun when it works.
Well, when you can get it to
when you get it to load and install correctly. Speaking of not installing and coming correctly, I promised you guys a review on Frozenheim. But the game launched with a plethora of issues. So when I went to download it, I haven't even been able to open or play the game.
I have, and I'm getting my ass kicked.
Yeah, I've heard that it's really hard, and that makes me want to play it that much more. I actually downloaded Civ 6 to play that, so I can satisfy my simulation needs, because I downloaded Frozenheim and couldn't play it, and I was really upset.
Well, like I said,
I was like, I'm going to play Civ 6. I'll show you.
Well, we'll have to get you into the studio and get you on the studio computer.
It's not even the computer. I mean, I can play it on here, but it's... Yeah, for whatever reason, when I downloaded it, just doesn't want to work. It's nuts, yeah. And it's really funny because
I couldn't get it to play.
I sent a laundry list of the steps that I took to get it to work. And I haven't seen a single response yet.
So, like, on the computer at the house... I went through it and I was having a hard time. Like it started to load up and I started to get in, and as soon as it started to load in and things were happening, it just stopped. Like I could move a step and then it would just like go to black and like
crash.
maybe that's a cutscene, and no, like it's not. Like
Frozenheim has stopped working.exe.
Yep. Yep.
It's frustrating with things like that, but it does happen, and it is a new game, and I think they're a relatively new developer as well.
Right.
So they're trying to iron out the bugs, and they probably built it using a specific set of what's the word I'm looking for?
Requirements.
Thank you. A certain set of requirements, and did not consider that the game would operate on different PCs with different requirements, and so they probably hard coded it, and now they have to go back and fix it.
Well, like I said, the computer that I'm playing it on now is like as maxed out as that computer can get.
Yeah, I have one of the. I mean, it's not the top of the line laptop, but it's mid to top tier, and it's less than a year old. So I have not had an issue playing any game on this PC or on this laptop except for that one. So for anybody looking at me and be like, "Oh, it's your requirement," no, it's not. That's hot trash.
I got lucky.
I watch movies, and I literally download. There's a game I just downloaded that was released this year, and it's just fine.
We got lucky before everything went completely. Like you can't hardly get anything.
Mm-hmm.
We upgraded to 64 gig of RAM. We upgraded to an 8 core processor. We upgraded to the top 8 core.
I'm glad that we did, because that'll coast us for a couple of years.
Yeah, an 8 gig video card. That way, you know, I can run like 75 monitors if I wanted to.
Which is awesome. I
mean, I'm running 4 now.
It is. So. It is really cool. If you guys check out the Sunday Night Madness show, it kind of looks like a green screen behind him. It's pretty dope. So yeah, that's Vedelem, and like I said, I haven't been able to review Frozenheim because I haven't been able to play it to review it, and I'm not going to bull BS and lie to you guys. If I don't play the game, I'm not going to review it. So, But I do have a couple of other reviews coming up. I'll do Army of the Dead here in a few.
So speaking of computer games, or computers and upgrading and doing all that stuff, Dell's being sued for they're overpromising for the Alienware Area 51M R1. Here I am, like doing the
ASM or ASM.
Yeah, it was like yeah, MR1.
MR1.
But no,
what is it? Is it MR1?
MR1.
Or is this one? I thought this was one.
I mean, either one.
Whatever. Or is this one? Sorry.
No, that's
sorry.
That's the Duggan.
Ho! So for any of our WWE fans, you're welcome.
Right.
Go ahead.
And then my brain goes into double Dutch bust when you did that. Now
Dell's being sued though.
Yes, Dell's being sued though, because when they originally advertised the thing, and it's a class action lawsuit, so like a lot of people are irritated about it for breach, like false advertising. And
let's get in on
all this stuff. So basically, they're saying that the Dell Area 51 MR1 was promised to be upgradable, that you could do, like keep abreast of all of the stuff. So you could, when you get the new chipset, you can upgrade to the new chipset. You can do this, you can do that, and none of it is possible. None of it is true. None of it's possible.
I will just say that every laptop is upgradable if you're brave enough.
Well, I mean, if you rip the if you like put in a new motherboard and just like completely rebuild the thing.
I mean,
from
it
scratch.
Still counts,
right? But literally, that's what they're saying. Like it's the 10th gen CPUs that they were promising aren't even compatible with the motherboard that's on it. So
that's an issue.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't. Yeah.
So I mean, they're running 9th gen stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you can do this," and then like 10th gen comes out, and they're like, "Yeah, no, it's still no, you can upgrade it, you can do this," and then people are finding out they can't do anything. I mean, they can do like a little bit. They can upgrade the RAM because that literally is just replacing a RAM stick,
right?
But you can't upgrade into the new processor. You can't upgrade any of that stuff.
The graphics card.
So they're getting way flambéed. I think that
they should be. They over.
Yeah.
First of all, this is Alienware specifically, right? The Dell Alienware.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize Dell owned Alienware.
Yeah, they picked it up.
Nice. So with that being said, this is how I feel about Alienware. I think it's a cool concept. I think
it's just a lot of money for a laptop.
It's just a lot of money for a laptop, and honestly, we clocked this is back in the day. I had a Lenovo G505S, right? The dual graphics card. It was kind of neat. Worked pretty well. We loaded up Final Fantasy 14, and then Jeff, the producer, had bought an Alienware laptop, and it was the Alienware gaming laptop, and it was super top of the line, and it was just, and he paid, it was close to $2,000. It might have been more for his laptop. I paid $700 for mine, and I had it kind of built. It specifically was designed the way that it was. Went to a computer shop, had some things adjusted to it, so it was a little bit more money than the standard, and ended up, like I said, right around $700. And he and I played Final Fantasy 14 together, Realm Reborn, and we were playing. It was having a good time, and he and I zoned at the exact same time, and his screen loaded less than a millisecond before mine did. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So we clocked it. We clocked our PCs just so we could see how they performed and how they stacked next to each other. And at least on the performance test, mine was 14 milliseconds slower than his was. That's it. And so if anybody has, what in the hell is happening over there?
Oh, it was an ad showed up for on the news thing that I was looking at.
That's always fun.
Right?
Bad Chris, bad Topher, turn your volume down. But anyways, so sometimes when you pay for the name, you're literally just paying for the name.
Right.
But for those of you who don't know math, 14 milliseconds is 0.14 thousandths of a second, 0.0014 seconds. So 1 second is 1.000, and then 14 milliseconds is 0.0014. There you go. That's how fast his computer was compared to mine.
Well, no, the funny thing when going back with the Dell thing for a second. No. And that's a good example. Like, you know, they're not that especially back then, like they weren't that, it was the name.
Right.
Now with this, they're being alleged that they knew that none of the thing would be compatible. They were just trying to get rid of the R1s before the R2s came out, because the R2s were compatible.
Wow. So they intentionally pawned off garbage on people.
At the higher price.
At the higher price. Okay.
So waiting for trying to get them out before the new hardware came in, and which did actually meet all of their criteria that they were advertising for the first one. So that was
basically, so sorry that you guys bought this one, but the new one does have all that.
Right.
That's what we meant. We just accidentally hit a 1 instead of a 2 when we were advertising. We're really sorry. You know, what was it? The Veldon XEs or whatever, Valdez? Exxon Valdez. That's it. The tanker, and he was like, "We're sorry. We didn't mean to. We just spilled oil in the Gulf. We're sorry."
We didn't mean to.
It was like the most
wreck everything.
Right. It was like the most insincere apology that you've ever heard in your life.
This is why we can't have nice things.
It really is.
So, but yeah. So that is the Dell news.
Dell can go to special place. So you and I were looking at this new game. It's not even a new game. Like, this is really weird.
It's an older game.
It's an older game, and this new trailer pops up, and it looked wicked cool. Right, so we brought it up.
We moved to Boston, and now we're just wicked smart.
Wicked smart. Not dumb. Not dumb like people say, like wicked smart. So anyways, we're watching this trailer for War Thunder.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've never heard this game. So apparently War Thunder is an MMO.
Or like a military MMO.
A war simulation MMO. and I'm super duper intrigued.
I mean, we're
right
only
now.
like 8 years behind on that one because apparently they've had like several other expansions.
Yeah.
And this just happens to be the newest one that literally dropped the day of us recording us.
Yeah, it was trending on Twitter. It was, well, it wasn't like top 10 or anything like that, but like it had trended, and then it was in the Steam, and people were talking about it on Steam community. I was like, what is happening? I went to Reddit. It was all over Reddit. I'm like, what is happening right now? What is this game? And then you brought it up as soon as I came in the studio because I wasn't even going to talk about it. And you were like, have you seen this new trailer? I was like, I have not. So, neither one of us have actually watched the full trailer. We watched about 10 seconds of it.
And we need to talk
we
about
need to talk about this. And then we did some little bit of homework into what the game actually is without watching video, because we didn't want to spoil anything. We like to have our reactions be a little bit more pure than that.
Right.
But we do at least want to know something about the game. And apparently, like we said, wartime simulation MMO with I guess there's classical units and there's newer units. So this is I'm really excited about this. Honest to God, I'm really excited. But yeah, it's was released in 2013 by Gaijin Studios. Just awesome stuff. All right, so you want to get into this here?
Yes, let's
what we
do
here.
this.
All right. Xbox.
Speaking of the Exxon Valdez.
Some Chinese planes right there. Or Korea. What is Korean planes? I don't know. I think they're Chinese. Red Star.
I feel like I'm watching Transformers with them.
Right? Explosions. Woo, baby.
I wonder if they got the physics on that.
Hard telling. I mean, the cutscenes look pretty. The FFDs look really pretty.
Xbox.
Now, that was Red Skies, apparently. That's their new one, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess Red Skies would be the introduction of the Chinese army, of the Chinese war assets to the landscape. That's kind of what I got out of that, because those were all every single one of those were Chinese assets, including the tanks, the jets, all that. So those were the God, I cannot remember the name of their.
Well, they
their
also
fighters.
had some American fighters like squaring off with them too. So.
Well,
yeah,
yeah, but I mean the featured assets were the Chinese assets. So, but it looks really pretty.
Oh yeah. No, it's like when I said like I wonder if the physics is, because if you're running a battleship and you load off like that, the boat's going to be 15, 20 feet in the other side in the other direction.
Oh yeah, the square off.
Boom.
Well, a lot of times they have what's the word that I'm looking for? They have bracer technology now, which essentially the gun.
It's this water thruster. Well, I mean, and you have basically like water thrusters or whatever.
Yeah, it
like
pushes back. So like, and it's like the physics behind that is actually really cool. And I'm not going to get into all of that.
But I'm just saying,
I'll geek out on it
because that
it's really
looks
neat.
like straight up like World War II battleship style.
Yeah, that was definitely a battle cruiser.
So you fire all of those guns, and you're just gonna watch the whole thing go. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
And then kind of rock back into thing as everybody on board.
Yeah, it does the tip off like they're back and forth, which is really funny because you don't realize, because water is not solid, obviously, unless you're about to impact it at a certain speed, and then it becomes a solid. For all intents and purposes, it may as well be solid at that point. But yeah, in order for weaponry to fire, in order for that to be, it has to, just from a physics standpoint, it has to be braced against a solid object, which in this case is the ship. And the ship will, for every Newton exerted in this direction, the opposite will be exerted in this direction, which is how you have recoil in a weapon. Things like that's how recoil works. That's why your hand will kick back. Right.
And it's also how you can let off a nuclear bomb.
Right.
And move a spaceship through the air, because as
correct
that explosion goes one way, you're going to go. It
propels you the opposite, and it's an equal measure.
To kind of tie back to last.
Yeah, I know. I like that. It was actually really good. The last episode, yeah. So fart rockets. That's how they work. That's how fart rockets work. So, but but because of course water's not solid, but the ship moves. It moves through the water with the same exertion.
And then fills the space back with the displaced.
Correct.
So it moves back, then it slides back into the.
Yeah, which is amazing. But now they have, like he and I were talking about, they have the thrusters and stuff that'll actually push back against the water, so that when they're one fired this way, the other one's fired this way, and then they have to figure out how to get the ship to not collapse on itself from that impact. It is so cool. The whole technology behind that is like, I mean, geek out. It's awesome.
Because they love also physics. Use those for like port thrusters, and whatever. Like when you're getting in, they'll maneuver without having to fire up the big engines, like the big things. Because trying to get a battleship to turn, it's like slow.
Have you ever seen the aircraft carriers are the ones that crack me up because of
the 75
the way the keel is set up,
like the 80 miles to turn and come back around,
and they do it with relative speed too. Like it's not slow. Like they do not move slow.
No,
you would look at it, you're like, oh, that's a giant ship. It moves. No, they don't. They cruise. That's why their keels are set up that way. Because they cut through the water and they boogie. They're fast. Mm-hmm. They're not the fastest boat we have, but they are fast. Anyways, sorry.
And you got like what's funny is when you look at some of the boats, you're like, oh, wow, look, so much stuff is above the water. You're like, how did they not tip over? Well, there's that again underneath the water.
Yeah, usually.
So you don't get the...
it's all displacement and buoyancy. Yeah. That's how that floats.
Buoyancy.
Did I say buoyancy? Yeah, buoyancy. Whatever. I don't know what I meant. Whatever.
No, booyah.
Buoyancy. That's what we say when we play WoW. Buoyancy.
Speaking of WoW, the Burning Crusade launched on Monday.
Yes, it did.
Or not Monday, but Tuesday, on the 1st.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
I didn't work. Because of Memorial Day, we didn't work on Monday. So
nope. Hopefully everybody had a decent Memorial Day and you guys celebrated the actual reason for the holiday.
Yeah. But the I almost said something. But the
Hope you enjoyed your long weekend.
Yeah, that literally was what I was getting ready to say.
I know.
But no, the
jerks.
So like Tuesday became my Monday. So
right.
That's so it came out, it launched, like I finally hit 60 right before that night, and then went to bed and then didn't get on till today.
I was on for I think 5 minutes the other night. I couldn't. I loaded it, started to play it, and then everything went sideways, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just get back to this later, and I just never did. And then it was like 4 in the morning, and I was like, I just want to play Civ 6 and pass out.
But
and I did play in Civ 6.
The funny thing is so on launch day, just like every other Blizzard launch.
You said lunch day, right? Because I'm really
launch
hungry.
day.
Oh, dang.
Like every other launch day, they always have problems.
Yep.
Every single time, without fail. When they launched Classic, it literally was like the launch of Classic originally. Like,
really?
Waiting lines to get in, like you couldn't get like you literally end up in queue for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours just to log into the game.
I hate that.
Because everybody was trying to log in at once. So you had like queues to get into your servers. Servers were full, all of this stuff. Well, they tried to think ahead, and their pre-patch did all this stuff. All they had to do was a quick update, and that made the portal live, and you could walk through the portal, because they already had the quest there, it was already flagged. Like you just couldn't select those. You just couldn't get those quests.
Right.
And like when those went live, like everybody was. I was watching like Asmon's stream or whatever, and they had like 200, 300 people sitting at the portal waiting for the portals to go active, and like so they can just charge the portal en masse, and everything was laggy.
Well, yeah.
Like everything was as you would expect from a Blizzard launch. People, it was slow. People were laggy. It took forever to do stuff. And then Blizzard announced that they were getting DDoS. They were suffering from a DDoS attack, and that was why everybody was lagging.
Right.
And literally everybody on Twitter underneath it was like, yeah, because blame it on a DDoS attack when it literally is the same every single launch.
Right. DDoS would be right when you go in and the game loads, everybody starts playing. You get about 15, 20 minutes into the game. Everything was nice and smooth. Then all of a sudden, everything goes to hell. That's a DDoS.
Right. Well, I mean, it depends on when you log in, too.
Right.
So, like, it could have been smooth up to a point, and then when everybody else logged in. I mean, if you're going to DDoS somebody, it's basically a denial of service attack. You're basically trying to overload the server. For those who aren't aware of it, you're just pinging the server so much that it actually
overloads the server and crashes.
Yeah, overloads the server,
and it does it repeatedly.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the same as like a couple 100,000 people trying to sign on to a game.
Yeah, like Burning Crusade.
But the funny thing is like if you're going to hit somebody with a DDoS attack, that would be the time to, because your work is not going to be that hard, in the sense of like you're not going to have to generate as many pings.
Yeah, you don't have to allocate as many assets to the to the attack. So yeah.
So I mean,
no, and you know what? It might have happened that somebody might have done that. But that's not why it was crashing.
Right. Well, I mean, if
it was contributing, it's like here. Let's just use this as an example. You lose both of your legs in a terrible accident, and then somebody shoots you. Okay. Now, you died of blood loss, and you were going to die of blood loss because you literally had both your legs chopped off, and then they blame it on the bullet.
Right. I'm glad you went with that rather than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, it was the bullet's fault. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's just completely ignore that you were hemorrhaging. Okay.
Everything is fine.
It was the DDoS. Yeah. Good job, Blizzard. Now, how do you feel about that, by the way? I gotta ask this question because for me, I hate the queue lines. I can't stand them, which is a lot of times why I don't like you doing the Battle Royale type style games.
Right.
I keep like Cold War or a Warzone.
I've never really had a queue line waiting for Warzone.
I'll tell you what the biggest issue that I have with Dead by Daylight, for instance.
Okay.
I enjoy the game tremendously. I do. They're small maps. It's a pretty intimate setting. There's literally just 5 of you, and it's four friends or 4 allies and then the killer. And it's very entertaining to play when you can get a game, because the queue line,
like Among Us. Yeah,
the queue line is so bad. It's terrible, and you just sit there and you wait. And I don't know if it's their matchmaking. I don't know if there's not enough people playing. But
well, I mean, it could be the fact that there's not a lot of people playing, and that's why.
Well, that's some of it too. But then the other thing is that
because they're waiting for other games to end so they can match you with those players.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is I don't know. The queue line bothers me, and I can't stand it. But for games like WoW, do you consider the queue line worth it?
Well, I mean, there's not really a queue. I mean, except for when they literally overload the servers, like too many logging in.
Right.
For the most part, there is no real queue. The only queue you would have is in retail when you're like the dungeon finder thing, where you just basically, I want to join a group, and we're gonna go do this dungeon, and it automatically does all of that stuff, and you pairs you with random people who are also looking to go into that dungeon.
So in that case, like, is that an issue?
No, because you're out doing other stuff at the same time.
Oh, you don't have to sit and wait by the entrance or anything.
No.
You literally just queue it up and then go. Oh, okay. So you can still continue to play.
Because with the retail
Guys,
side,
I don't play it. I'm trying to get into it, but I haven't even gotten that far yet. I'm not even level 10.
That's why we're starting him off with like Classic and Burning Crusade.
Like, I'm not even level 10 yet.
But no. So as you with retail, as you like do whatever, you queue up for it, and then you just continue to quest, and then it prompts you like what do you want to be, DPS or whatever, like whatever your thing is.
What role? I know about that. Like I've done RPGs, but or MMOs. Like but for Final Fantasy 14, you literally had to wait by the instance.
Yeah, no, I mean
it was super terrible. I hated it.
On TBC, if you don't have if you have like a group, then you can literally you're at the entrance waiting on the group to get there. If you get there first,
right?
But then as soon as everybody's there, you can walk in and start doing it. Okay. So like if you have a preformed group, there's no waiting. Like the only waiting is on the slowest member of your party.
Nice.
So I mean,
okay,
and that's what I'm trying to do because there is no dungeon finder in Burning Crusade or Vanilla. So like I'm trying to get the guild back and enough people to start doing dungeons and stuff.
Get the guild back together.
Right. Which is, by the way, the Cult of Cthulhu on Ashkandi on the Burning Crusade and Vanilla servers.
What is it?
Your interest.
Spell it for everybody. Let them know what it is.
Ashkandi.
Okay.
Yeah, the Cult of Cthulhu.
Okay. So on the Ashkandi server, the Cult of Cthulhu.
Yeah. If you see some of us, it literally started as a friends thing, but we're looking for
new guildies.
Yeah.
We're looking for new members.
A few
you
brave people. Like we tend to be casual on a lot of stuff, but we like to get together and still do some content.
Sounds like a plan.
You know,
we'll have to get Dave on. We'll have to get Dave on that. Dave is a big WoW fan, so we'll have to get him in there. He'll have fun.
That way I can run around when he's done. I'm like, Dave's not here, man.
Dave's not here, man. All right, so. Speaking of things that are old and rusted.
Yes.
Rust just had an issue. Or not issue, but Rust just did a massive update.
Well, they update every month. Yeah. Every month you get a new thing that it can do. Rust also has an app, just like WoW Retail has an app, and all these other things have an app. So the Rust Plus app for your phone allows you to do stuff. Now with this new update, that is a if this then that like support, which means kind of like a website where if you're no coding, if you put in hooks like if this happens, if this is called then serve this thing. So as the software, it can work with any other software that is supports that function.
Right.
So if a trigger happens, this is the result. If this trigger happens, this is the result. Well, now that that's built into the Rust app, you can have it set to trigger real-world things if something happens in-game, and your Rust app can detect it. So one of the things that I'd read was you can actually hook it up to your home alarm system. So if your base gets attacked, your home alarm system will go off.
Could you imagine being dead asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Or like the police showing up, like not figuring out, like, okay, well, I just need like the charms to the chimes to go off, not actually trigger the full alarm. So like every time your base gets raided in Rust, police show up at your door and let you know that like.
Hey, your base is being raided.
Right? Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, my base is being raided in Rust. What? I'm sorry. Can you give us the code? Yeah, the code is my base is being raided in Rust. Would you like us to deploy the police? I mean, if you could go to his house, that'd be great. Or their house.
Right. No, but so yeah, the but it also works. But that opens up like the door for a whole bunch of stuff. So like, if you have a an audio device, say that can do recorded things, or like you set up every time your base gets raided, you can actually hear danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger, or whatever, or smart lights flashing on and off to give you a signal like you get on the computer, your house, your
So like for people who have like Google Home or Alexa or anything like that.
Yeah, like you
That's
can
pretty
literally
cool.
like tie that into your real
I have
world
none of those
smart
things because
devices.
I'm paranoid, but yeah.
I have because they keep being given to me, but they're in like a room by themselves. And if I watch like way too much like the Android stuff or the AI stuff where they start talking to each other, I'm start worrying like Alexa's gonna start talking to the Google Echo or the Google Nest, because it's an Echo
Right.
Dot and a Nest, and like they start talking back and forth to each other. I actually triggered that once.
I'm picturing Alexa be like, Google is a dirty hooker. Google's like, Alexa likes to eat bugs.
But no, so like no, but I actually caught them like where I'd said something and the Nest picked it up, and it started to do something, and that triggered the Alexa, and that started talking, which triggered the Nest. So it like got into a weird back and forth talking about stuff, and then like apparently the Google got its feelings hurt and said that's not nice, and like shut off. By the way, that's a real thing. Have you ever like your phone just randomly kicked up for like a Google, like your Google Assistant or whatever, being like, I couldn't hear, like, would you repeat that again or whatever that it says?
I turned mine off.
Well, I tried, but it still pops up and whatever. So I randomly like, shut up! I don't want to talk to you. Like it's kind of rude. It literally was like, well, you don't have to use that kind of language. Like, you're my phone. Shut up.
Yeah, you're my phone. Don't lecture me.
Right.
I own you.
It's like straight up. I just want to like, you're getting creepy. I'm going to chuck you out the window and file for an insurance report.
I want a divorce.
Well, I don't. That's weird. Now that I said that you tied that together with I'm going to chuck you out the window and file an insurance report. I want a divorce. Like, well, that's not how you get a divorce. Just chuck them out the window and file for insurance.
That would be why the police were at my house. Just makes more sense. My base got attacked in Rust. I thought it was just a coincidence. To tie it all back together.
Right. But no, the so I mean, it's a really interesting thing to actually be able to tie your game into your real world.
I agree.
I'm not quite sure.
I don't know how much I like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting AR. Like,
I'm a fan of games that when I turn off the game is off.
Right.
That's what it is. I like.
Well, like Valheim, when you're off the server, everything stops.
Unless you're on a worldwide server, but yes. Unless you're on a live server.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the heck it's called now. Anyways, I'm not on a live server, so yeah, when I log out, my action stops. You can't raid my base, you can't break my stuff. And that's because I like to build things, and I really don't want people in there tinkering and when I'm not around.
Right. I mean, I was on, like, I had a perpetual server once. Like, I was just playing around, and I got on it. And I got to the point where I just put, like, those little totems, like, in, like, everywhere around my perimeter. That way they couldn't enter my base. They couldn't touch my base. They couldn't open my chests. They couldn't do whatever.
You know that you can bury stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's actually just the easiest way to do it.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be like my grandfather. You're like, oh, I have a trunk full of gold. I'll just bury this in the backyard.
Never tell anybody.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, by the way, I buried the trunk in the black.
The entire family's out there with the ring,
metal detectors,
ring. But no, the so I mean, I guess like in that sense, like I have not played Rust. Rust is actually, once we hit Valheim, and I fell in love with like the building mechanic, which is what fell in love with the Fallout stuff, where like just being able to build houses and like my own. Quite literally, it looked like an old gas station with the vending machines out front and like
Right.
the overhang, and I did all that stuff for 76. And got the bug where I stopped playing the game and just farmed for materials to build. And that was like my whole existence. And now, like with Valheim, like that is my whole existence. Is
Right.
like just building. Oh, I can build Stormwind if I wanted to, which I'm trying. It's just really, really hard because that thing's huge. But when I saw Rust, I was like, ooh.
It looks
I can
really
build
fun.
But then there's other people who can come around and kill you and take your stuff.
And I hate griefers.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest hang up on it. It's like I'm not worried about that. It's just I don't play these games enough to be I'm the best player ever, derp derp, and then go around and grief players all the time. So I hated playing on a public server on 76.
Right.
It was just obnoxious.
Right, and they're everywhere. It's just like it's just for them. It's more easy. It's easier to go and steal it from somebody else than it is to actually.
But that's the whole thing. You can't take their gear. All you get is their scrap.
Right.
And you don't have any clue what they're actually holding.
Right.
So it's really actually pointless to kill other players unless they're in your base messing with stuff.
Right.
It's like if they're just passing through, leave them alone.
But you know,
it's
people,
so stupid.
And apparently they have that in that thing too. So it's where they're talking about like just random people like coming across, but they've instituted a proto reputation thing to where if you find somebody who's been killing you or indiscriminately and doing whatever, you can actually tag them with a symbol or whatever. Like so, like these guys are if this symbol you interact
kind of like
with them,
76's
it's
bounty
a smiley
system.
face or whatever. You can say, hey, this person is helped me out or like
Right.
hasn't
Friendly designation.
yeah. And then these people are not. And you can see that through like binoculars. So if you see somebody coming, you can pop it up and like the thing will literally be in there and you can see.
Are they a griefer or are they a helper? Stuff like that. No, that's kind of
like,
cool.
is this rando or is this somebody who's going to cause me problems?
Right.
And I mean, so and literally said in the article, if you are one of those, it really doesn't change your world. I mean, you're still going to go out and do and murder and do whatever you want to do. But if you're one of those that like to like team up and like do other cool things and like that type of stuff, it actually would show you like, hey, these people are not going out and causing problems, and this is somebody you can actually team up with to like defend yourselves from these people or build a base or do whatever.
Right. That's pretty cool. I mean, like I said, it's on my list. It's in my shop. So
yeah,
I'm just waiting for the developer sale at the end of the month.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on
or the Steam sale, the summer sale at the end of the month. Yeah.
So
the developer sale is over. They're in the ARC. They're in like this weird community sale thing right now. And then end of the month they'll have the actual Steam sale.
Right. And
summer sale.
Start of a new month.
Yeah. Man, I want to go play games.
But yeah, so we talked about the new War Thunder. Like I keep thinking
War Thunder.
Yeah, War Thunder. I keep thinking Love and Thunder.
Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
So
but,
war, not War and Thunder, just
War
Thunder.
Vedelem.
The Golden Horde.
It's like I can remember the Golden Horde. It's just the Vedelem.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Dell being sued. We talked
because they're trash.
Yeah. We talked about WoW.
A little bit about WoW, not a lot.
A little bit about Burning Crusade and some other games that we along those lines of whatnot. We talked about the RTSs and whatnot, and then we just talked about Rust and some of the new stuff and playing the game.
So I'm excited to start playing that. We'll see how it goes.
I know, like, when you first messaged me on Burning Crusade, you're like, it could, like, it won't turn sideways. Like,
so different. But I'm not a huge PC gamer, so it's just,
and I was like, you got to do this to strafe, and you do that to strafe, and you, like, move this around.
Yep. I got to use the controls again. Once I get used to it, I'll be fine. And then I'll probably see you guys out there in the wild. And I'm going to be coming at you, taking your stuff.
Not in that, because it's a PvE. Unless you're flagged and they're Horde.
Yeah. I'll never be that good, probably.
Yeah, no. I never got into PvP. But, we talked about all that fun stuff. If you'd like to see anything else, like we have movies, we have the cons that we got coming up, which is one of the cons we do have coming up is in conjunction. And that will be on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of July. So we're like less than a month away, like as of
getting
today.
Excited for convention season.
We'll be on, like we are. They are listing us as their official podcast, official radio station stuff, and we're going to have a media table right out there in the center, so as everybody's walking in, we can talk to everybody. We're doing a live show, which will be on the members section, streamed live from the location, and we will be having some interviews with other people and all that other stuff, which will be also on the members section. Which it'll be on the regular access to the stuff, but you're talking about like 6-7 months later, like when everything gets filed down and moved over, then we'll put up the in conjunction stuff for the rest of you. So if you would like to have access to all of that new stuff, our live shows as we record them, so you can.
That's the best, by the way, because some of the cut content stuff is funnier than what we actually put out there on YouTube.
But if you also want to be able to access and talk to us during the show and participate in that, go ahead and it's only $5. You get access to the Discord, the movies, the live content, our convention stuff, and and we just keep adding and adding and adding more stuff to the list of things.
We're trying to get it to the point where if all you want to do is be on geekpublicradio.com, everything that you could possibly want is on there.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get some games going. We're trying to do some movies. We've already got movies on the website. We're trying to release new movies. We got new content coming out. Podcasts, docucasts, true crime, geek stuff. You name it, we're going to do it.
And dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
But so all of that is right there, and a bag of chips.
There's a bag of chips on there. Seriously, if you go to the members section, there is a free bag of chips.
Shipping $17.
Correct.
But no, but yeah, so it's just a great time. And remember, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not on the Geek Public Radio, check out the Geek Public Radio website, just because we have articles and other stuff there that is for everybody. Our reviews and everything get posted up there. Just remember to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and hit the bell, and you'll be able to stay in tune with us. The more you interact with the show, the more people get to see us. So
that's right.
That is how it is. This is Topher right here at Geek Public Radio.
I have been Crazy Chris.
We will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Peace.